Welcome to our weekly roundup of key business developments in Sri Lanka. I'm Nishani Piguera, and here are this week's main stories. IMF concludes first review, approves second tranche. Sri Lanka to contract 3.6% this year, slight pickup in 2024. VAT hike and threshold reduction approved. In our main story this week, on Tuesday, the Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund completed the first review of Sri Lanka's extended fund facility arrangement. This allowed for an immediate disbursement of about $337 million. Sounding a positive note, Kenji Okumura, IMF's Deputy Managing Director, said that Sri Lanka's macroeconomic policy reforms are starting to bear fruit. He added that there are tentative signs of stabilization with rapid disinflation, significant revenue-based fiscal adjustment and reserves build-up. The review statement noted that the island nation had met all quantitative performance criteria for end June, except the one on expenditure areas, and all indicative targets were met except the one on tax revenues. However, it warned that Sri Lanka's bailout program is at risk of being underfinanced and that social unrest could re-emerge, adding that reforms could be derailed by next year's elections. Meanwhile, Peterborough, Senior Mission Chief for Sri Lanka, said the second IMF review of Sri Lanka's facility could be concluded by the first half of 2024. He added that the country's official sector agreements must be converted into actual agreements by that time, and that agreements must also be reached with the commercial creditors. The International Monetary Fund increased its estimate of Sri Lanka's economic contraction to 3.6% for this year from an earlier projection of 3%. The lending agency noted that constrained bank credit and fiscal consolidation will weigh on the outlook and that inflation is expected to increase to 4.8% by end 2023 following electricity tariff hikes in October. Prices are to rise 6.6% in 2024 from higher VAT and removal of exemptions. On a positive note, it stated that project financing and FDIs will increase foreign currency reserves to around $5.4 billion by 2024 and that the country could grow 1.8% in 2024 from accommodative monetary conditions and relaxation of import restrictions. Sri Lanka Parliament approved a 3% hike in VAT to 18% from the 1st of January next year. The new VAT amendment also brings in 97 previously exempt items. Further, the annual VAT threshold was reduced to 60 million rupees from 80 million rupees. Such revisions are expected to increase tax revenue to 12.5% of GDP from the current 9.1% and is a part of the government's target of 15% by 2025. According to Ranjit Siambalapitiya, Minister of Finance, the VAT hike was necessary due to an increase in welfare spending and to repay the loan interest. The Sri Lankan cabinet approved a $1.7 billion power purchase agreement with Australia's United Solar Group to set up a 700 megawatt solar power plant to be installed on the surface of the Punakare tank in Kilinochchi. The project includes a 1,500 megawatt battery energy storage facility. According to Kanchana Wijesekara, Minister of Power and Energy, the project is expected to save about 750,000 tonnes of carbon emissions per year, which is around 4% of Sri Lanka's total emissions. In our weekly tourism update, tourist arrivals for the first 10 days of December reached 57,394, pushing the yearly total past 1.3 million. Average daily arrivals surged to 5,700. The primary source market in the month is India, followed by Russia and the United Kingdom. The SLTDA is targeting 250,000 visitors for the month of December. Now let's take a look at the weekly movement of the All Share Price Index and the S&P SL 20 Index at the Colombo Stock Exchange. At the Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yields on all maturities contracted. Bids amounting to 348 billion rupees were received, of which 216 billion were accepted. The Sri Lankan rupee was steady against the dollar this week, with the central bank's indicative mid-spot rate ranging around 326 to 327 rupees. And with that, we wind up for this week. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel at the link below for regular updates on economic and business developments in Sri Lanka. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.